6, they are asking us to identify two. Oh, identify two associate companies of G company. Okay. So there's group 1 and group 2. Out of these, we need to identify which one, uh, one from each group. Okay, from group 1 and group 2. In group 1, acquisition of 10%, then acquisition 40%, acquisition 50%. Group section 21%, 70%, and 15%. So in the first scenario, uh, this acquisition of 50% of C company has appointed two of the five board members. Okay, this appears because this is 50% owned, and because it is 50% owned, it gives significant influence. Okay, so, and in the second one, what should be this thing? This has 2170. But the thing is, it has this ability to direct the operating decisions. In this case, uh, okay, let's read one by one and let's see. So in the group one, but let's look at it a little more closely. Although I understand what should be the answer. In the first, they have 10%. Second, they have 40%, and third, they have 50%. Okay. So group one, so acquisition of 10% of Alt's company. Okay. Z company has no representation on the board or articles, all decimated board level. So there is no representation, nothing. So it is not this thing. Then 40% due to an agreement with other shareholders, Z effectively holds 52% of the voting rights. So because it has more than 50% of the voting rights, it has the significant influence, and it will have power to direct operating decisions because it has more than 50% of voting rights. Hmm? Even if they have this 40% of this acquisition. Third, they have acquisition of 50%. So that gives them the significant influence. Um Z company has appointed two of the five board members. So they have appointed only two, okay, of the five. So then still three are independent of them, the Z company. So the Z company will not have the power to direct operating decisions. Hmm? They can participate in the financial and operating decisions, but they will not direct because majority of the board of directors are not theirs. They just have two directors out of five. So this 50% case looks right, you know, and because if you can see in this 10% scenario, all decisions were made by G company at board level, and the second also they have the 52% of the voting rights. That also means that they have this um, what is that, decision making, they are in the decision making capacity. Only the third scenario, even if they have bigger shareholding is still the three board of directors are independent, only two are theirs, so they do not have the decision making capacity. So this third one will be this. In the group 2, what they are saying, that acquisition of 21% of D company. So the this is okay, we can like look at this now. 21%, 70%, big number, 15%. So this is the percentage of the shareholding. Hmm. So this is the ownership percentage, we can say, ownership percentage. Then there is significant influence, and then there is decision making rights. Okay. So although their ownership is 21%, 70%, 15% respectively, in the first one, the other 79% of D company is owned by Y company, which has no link to this. So that company, Y company, has this decision making capacity. They do not have. Hmm. In the second one, acquisition of 70%, so there is no significant influence also, and this is not relevant also. We'll just look at the decision making and then this ownership. Acquisition of 70% of this company has been able to direct the operating activities for many years and has exercised the right. Has been able to direct the operating activities. So they have this 70% of this thing, and they have this ability. Hmm. And in the third case, 15% can appoint one of these five board members. No, so here what is happening? There is this decision making capacity, significant influence. We need to see. Sorry, there is no significant influence here. They have significant influence because uh, it has more than 70% of this ownership, and they are able to make the decisions also. So they have the decision making right. So you can't call it an associate. It has full right. Okay. And then this acquisition of 15%, and they have appointed one of F company's five board members. Hmm? So decision making capacity is just 1 by 5. It is not all. Okay, so we can go no decision making capacity. And no party can appoint more than two. So it has a significant influence because it can participate in the decision making process because they have the capacity to appoint two directors, but because it is less than the 50% of this thing, they do not have the decision making rights 100%. So this will be the associate. So the 15% here in group 2 and this 50% in this will be the answer.